All right, people, we back again. I'm continuing from chapter 6 of Kings 2 with verse 17. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray to open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man. So what was going on right now is they trying to come and get Elijah and attack him and take him. And the young man is scared. He's like, what are we going to do? And Elijah said, Lord, open his eyes. Sometimes you just got to pray for God to open the eyes of people. Open their eyes. Open their eyes, Lord, that they see the truth, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elijah. So he's like, oh, crap. Man, imagine seeing that. There'll be more for us than there are against us. A lot of times we ain't talking about people. We're talking about the spiritual host that surround us. Didn't God say I will send his angels if you dash your foot against a stone? And when they came down to him, Elijah prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. So he blinded the Syrians. Right? You know, he blinded them. Now this is the crazy part. He blinded them. And watch what happens. I prayed them with blindness, and he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elijah. And Elijah said unto them, this is not the way. That is this the city. Follow me. And I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria. So he led them, he blinded them and seduced them to go the wrong way. And it came to pass when they were come to Samaria that Elijah said, open the eyes of these men. And they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. When they were blinded, they was where? What it was when they was blinded. Let me go back. Dothan. It was in Dothan. When they opened their eyes, were opened back up, they were in Samaria. How scary is that? And the king of Israel said unto Elijah, when he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink, and go to their master, merciful. And he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, they sent them away, and they went to their master. So the hands of Syria came no more into the hand of Israel. Sometimes he don't have to slay with the sword. He can slay with compassion. And it came to pass after this that Benhadad, king of Syria, gathered all his host and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 4 pieces of silver. I talked about this. You think what's going on here in the world with gas prices and food prices rising up never happened? It happens all the time. And the 4th part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help, my lord, O king. Now Benhadad is like, the king is really going through some things because the land is bad. People are doing unheard of things here. And he said, if the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto him, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. It was that bad in that land. You know, cannibalism is wrong. You understand? So we bore my son and did eat him. And I said unto her, on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. And it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth upon his flesh. Then he said, God, do so and more also to me, if the head of Elijah, the son of Shaphat, shall stand on him this day. Another person that has cursed themselves trying to curse a man of God. This happens so many times in this Bible. Be careful what you say. You should have just prayed. He's thinking Elijah brought this upon him. Elijah's just a messenger operating the will of God. Then he said, God, do so to me also, if the head of Elijah, the son of Shaphat, shall stand on him this day. But Elijah sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent a man from before him. But the messenger, came to him. He said to the elders, see how this son of a murderer have sent to take away my head? Look, when the messenger cometh, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him? And while he yet talked with them, behold, the messenger came down unto him. He said, behold, this evil is of the Lord. What should I wait for the Lord any longer? Then Elijah said, hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria. So prices finna drop. Sometimes looking around, you see prices high, getting high. Prices about to drop. God is good. Then the Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, behold, if the Lord would make window in the heaven, might this thing be? And he said, behold, thou shalt see it with thine own eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. So this dude trying to be a smart aleck. Shall the Lord make windows in heaven? And then he was like, and he said, behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. So you're going to see what's about to happen, but you ain't finna take part in none of it. That's what he told them. It's the will of God. If we say, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come and let us fall into the hand of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. They like, we lepers. We got nothing to lose. You understand? The city's out there. They don't want us there. You know, in leprosy, you get thrust out of the city. So they like, man, we ain't got nothing to lose. Let's go over here. And they rose up in the twilight to go up to the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp, Assyria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses. And they said one to another, lo, the king of Israel have hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight and left their tents. So God scattered them through fear, made them hear sounds and things like that. God does stuff like that. What therefore arose and fled in the twilight and left their tents and their horses and their asses and even the camp in wood and fled for their life. So they left everything. They were scared. And when the lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent and did eat and drink and carried this silver and gold and raiment and went and hid it and came again and entered into another tent and carried this also and went in and hid it. So they went in and like, man, boy, something must have set it on their heart to do this. The Lord works like this. Must have set it on their heart. Then they said unto another, we do not well. This day is a good day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry to the morning light, some mischief will fall upon us. And now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. So he was like, man, we can't just take all this for ourselves. We got to let some people know the good news. Even after these people threw them out of the city. But they're like, we got to let them know that this famine is about to come to an end. We can't just hold this blessing for ourselves. Sometimes our blessings ain't for you. Some are, but some ain't. It's for everybody. So they came and called into the port of the city, and they told him, saying, we came to the camp of the Syrians, and behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied and asses tied, and the tents as they were. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. And the king arose in the night and said unto his servants, I will now show you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we be hungry. Therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as the multitude of Israel that are left in it. Behold, I say there are even as all the multitude of the Israelites that are consumed. And let us send and sin and see. They took therefore 2 chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of Syrians, saying, Go and see. They went after them to Jordan, and lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels. They left butt naked. Although they left running, boy, the Lord scared the living daylights out of them. And the people went out and spoiled the tents of the Syrians. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. The Lord has a way of fixing things. It's never the same. It's always different. Things were way higher than that a few days ago. Now the price has dropped. God gave you the spoil of your enemies to look after you. Sometimes wars happen. They start off bad and they pay off. It is what it is. It's been like that since the beginning. And the king appointed the Lord on whose hand he leaned to have the charge of the gate. And the people trode upon him in the gate. And he died, as the man of God had said, who spake when the king came down to him. He died. He said, You won't eat thereof. And it came to pass, as the man of God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel, shall be tomorrow, the next day. This time in the gate of Samaria. And the Lord answered the man of God and said, Now behold, if the Lord should make windows in heaven. The Lord ain't got to do this. But he's like, you think I can't? What are you? You a king. But you ain't God. But I work for God. And to prove a point to you, you finna see this window open in heaven. And you're going to see all this famine and all this money come in and change it. But then you finna die. Because you ain't going to eat thereof. Because you're trying to be a smart aleck towards the Lord. And the Lord answered the man of God and said, Now behold, if the Lord should make windows in heaven, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. And so it fell out unto him, for the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died. Long live the king. For a little while. Let's get to the fruit of it all. I got a few more chapters to read. 8, 9, 10. And everything's finna come to full fruit now. It's all right, though. They spoke about Jehu for a while back. But you're going to see with Jehu. Then spake Elijah unto the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise and go thou and thine household, and sojourn wheresoever thou canst sojourn. For the Lord hath called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years. Remember, the other lady was 3 years. Here it is. It didn't rain for 3 years. Here it is, a famine for 7 years. And it shall also come upon the land 7 years. And the woman rose and did after the saying of the man of God, and she went with her household and sojourned in the land of Philistine 7 years. You might want to help the men, help people of God, right? Why? Because it's beneficial to you. I just heard the wind just rustling out there. And it came to pass that the 7 years ended, the woman returned out of the land of Philistines, and she went forth to cry to the king for her house and for her land. And the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of God. Now, even after Gehazi got hit with leprosy, he still worked for the man of God. He just got leprosy now. The snowman now. Saying, Tell me, I pray thee, all the great things that Elijah have done. And it came to pass, as he was telling the king how he had restored a dead body to life, that behold, a woman whose son he had restored to life cried to the king for her house and for her land. Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elijah restored to life. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed to her a certain officer, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the fruits of the field, since the day that she left the land, even until now. Wow, God is good. And Elijah came to Damascus, and Benhadad, the king of Syria, was sick, and it was told him, saying, The man of God is come hither. And the king said unto Hazael, Take a present in thy hand, and go meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, Shall I recover this disease? And Hazael went to meet him, and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels burdened, and came and stood before him, and said, Thy son Benhadad, king of Syria, have sent me to thee, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? And Elijah said unto him, Go say unto him, Thou mayest certainly recover. Howbeit, the Lord hath showed me that he shall surely die. And he set his countenance steadfastly until he was ashamed. And the man of God wept. And Hazael said, Why weepest, my Lord? And he answered, Because I know the evil that thou wilt do unto the children of Israel. He know it's like he's going to die, but you're going to restore him. But he's like, man, this man is an evil man. But he still told him exactly what the Lord, he's like, I know what this man is about to do. He's not right for us. He's not right for the kingdom of Israel, but it is what it is. He's finna do these things. He said, they're strong. He said, Thou would do unto the children of Israel. Their strongholds wilt thou set on fire, and the young men wilt thou slay with the sword, and will dash their children, and rip up their women with child. And Hazael said, But what is thy servant a dog, that he should do this great thing? And Elijah answered, The Lord hath showed me, and thou shalt be king over Syria. He's like, this is what you're going to do. God showed me. It's like he had a vision of that man's life. Right then and there. So he departed from Elijah and came to his master, who said to him, What said Elijah to thee? And he answered and told, Benhadad is the king right now. Right? He sent Hazael to inquire of Elijah. And this changed a whole message of events. I mean, it changes the events of he told me that should surely recover. And it came to pass on the morning that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it on his face so that he died. And Hazael reigned in his stead. So he killed him. Hazael. That prophecy was for like the next day. And in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat being then king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. There and 2 years old was he began. 30 and 2 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab. For the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Here it comes. Prophecy being fulfilled right before your eyes. Yet the Lord would not destroy Judah for David, his servant's sake, as he promised him to give him always a light as to his children. In his days, Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah and made a king over themselves. So Joram went over to Zer and all the chariots with him. And he rose by night and smote the Edomites with compassed about him. And the captains of the chariots and the temple fled into their tents. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. Then Libnah revolted at the same time. And the rest of the acts of Joram and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Joram slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, did Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, reign in his stead, begin to reign. 22 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign. He reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Athaliah, and the daughter of Omri, king of Israel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the sight of the Lord, as did the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he went to Joram, the son of Ahab, to the war against Hazael, king of Syria, and Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians wounded Joram. And King Joram went back to be healed in Jezreel of his wounds, which the Syrians had given him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael, king of Syria. And Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, in Jezreel, because he was sick. So a lot of things going past. A lot of changing of kingdoms and changing leadership. This and that happened. You understand? So sometimes evil people, the things that meant for them don't happen right away. Sometimes it's right away. But it's different. God has a purpose for everything. But I'm almost finished. Bear with me. Let me pause for a second. I will continue.